Good morning. Happy Thursday. It's Thursday, so let's dig into 3 things that I have been thinking about this week or have uncovered this week that I'd like to share with you. So the very first thing is your credit score. More importantly, your credit report. When was the last time you looked at your credit report? And if you haven't taken out a mortgage or taken out some sort of a loan recently, maybe that answer is a long time. So there's a lot of places that you can go to get your credit report that cost money. But a lot of people don't realize that the Fair Credit Reporting Act requires each of the 3 credit reporting agencies to give you your credit report once every 12 months for free. So Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion are the 3 major credit reporting agencies in the U.S., and they are required now by law to give you your credit report. So how do you do that? Because there's a lot of places out there that are still going to charge you money for their services, and you don't need to pay a dime. All you need to do is go to annualcreditreport.com. I'm going to say it again. Annualcreditreport.com is the only site on the internet that is federally regulated that you can get your free credit report. That's it, annualcreditreport.com. Anything else is probably going to cost you money. They can charge you some sort of a fee to do all of this for you, but you can do this for yourself. Now, when I go to annualcreditreport.com, it sends me a little link that I have to click, and then I have to call a phone number. I don't know why. I'm in Ohio. That might be different for you. It didn't used to be that way. Today it is. Maybe I need to clear my cookies. So annualcreditreport.com. And if you are in a season where maybe you're repairing your credit, and so it's really important that you know your credit score along the way and that you know what's happening, and that maybe there are a lot of changes. Maybe you've had some sort of fraud or identity theft that you're working on. So in order to get 3 credit reports for free a year, what you want to do is structure that so that you go in maybe in January or February and you get one from Equifax, and then wait about 4 months and go in and get one from Experian, and then wait about 4 months and go in and get that one from TransUnion. That way that you can space them out. So if you're really actively working on your credit, you can space it out and get 3 credit reports every year for free. If you're not actively working on repairing or rebuilding your credit, where there isn't things on there that you need to monitor closely, once a year is really, really reasonable. So I don't think you need to be constantly obsessed with your credit score and your credit report, but you should be checking it once a year just to make sure there isn't anything weird, that someone didn't take out some weird cell phone plan, or not even that they did it maliciously, that there wasn't an error. Because you don't want to find out that you can't get the mortgage because you didn't know that someone screwed up and maybe switched some numbers around on a social, and now you've got somebody's Comcast bill on your credit report. So go, annualcreditreport.com, at least once a year, and check it. Second thing I want to share with you is a quote. It's an old quote from Warren Buffett, but it just popped back up in my life again this week, and I feel like I need to share it for that reason. So the most important thing to do when you find yourself in a hole is to stop digging. The most important thing to do when you find yourself in a hole is to stop digging. Let that sink in, because we all find ourselves in different holes from time to time. How many of you have said, I'm going to eat healthier, I'm going on a diet, I'm going to lose weight, whatever it is, and about 2-3 days in, you eat something that you said you weren't going to eat, that you're not supposed to. You were like, I have to have the Snickers. And you eat it, and then you eat another one, or then you eat another, and then you go home and you say, screw it. Who cares? Day's ruined anyway. I'm just gonna binge on the chips now. I'm just going to go through the drive-thru. And then that carries on day to day, and before you know it, you haven't built the healthier lifestyle. We do it with our money too. Sometimes we know that we're in debt. We know that the payments are starting to add up and creep up. We know that one hiccup, one job loss, one missed paycheck could throw us completely for a loop. But we really want to go shopping. So we just keep digging. How many of you have done any kind of debt consolidation programs where you had these spending habits, you got yourself into debt, and then you thought, okay, the way I'm going to get out of debt is to pile it all together, make it one payment, and that way I can get out of debt faster. And then you go right back to the spending, and before you know it, you have a consolidated loan and all kinds of new credit card debt. Maybe that hasn't happened to you, but it's happened to a lot of people. The most important thing to do when you find yourself in a hole is to stop digging. Reassess, look around, pause, hit the brakes. What's happening? Take it in, think about it, digest it, analyze it, whatever you have to do with it, but stop digging. So that popped up in my life, and I felt compelled to put that quote out to you guys, because I don't know who needs to hear it, but you got to stop digging. You have to stop digging. Okay, last thing I want to talk about today is I have a friend who, her and her husband have some financial goals. They just recently got out of debt, and they're having a disagreement on what to do next. So they had a little bit of debt to pay off, and they had a larger debt that they ended up selling the item, paying off that debt, and so they paid off their debts. But they don't know, should they pay down their mortgage? They're thinking about moving, so maybe build or buy land out in the country, maybe buy a house out in the country. What should they do next? And they're having this struggle because the husband really wants to pay the mortgage off, and the wife is really ready to not be in that home and would love to be out in the country. So my advice to them was knowing that they're in kind of two different places that really conflict. One is paying off a mortgage and the other is moving to a new location. So kind of conflicting goals. My best advice was knowing that they just got out of debt, knowing that they have equity in their mortgage, in their home. Their mortgage has been paid down, so they have equity in their home. And they don't have what I would consider an emergency fund. They have a small savings account, but if something really happened, they don't have the cash there. So if you find yourself in a situation where you're recently out of debt, maybe you're setting up some financial goals for the future, maybe you're thinking about moving or just staying and paying things down. My words to them were commit to the next 12 months of not doing anything with the house, the mortgage, moving, and to just put money into a savings account. I think that I don't know if we're at a housing peak right now or a plateau. I don't know when it's going to drop off again. But where we're at, houses are pretty expensive, which has made building very expensive as well. I don't know if you have ever thought about that, but when houses get expensive, people say, well, if I can't buy what I want, I'll just build it. And then building costs go up. And on top of that, there's all kinds of global trade issues that are driving building costs up, as well as labor shortages. So building's expensive, buying homes is expensive. There's a lot of talk still about recession. I don't know what the next recession will do to the housing market, because not every recession drags the market down 50%. So, there's a lot of uncertainty. And when there's uncertainty, one of the best things that I think you can do is pause. Just pile the money into savings. And if you need to, have a set amount that once this much is in savings, then we'll reassess and decide, are we moving? Are we paying down the mortgage? What are we doing next? But my advice right now to this couple was to commit to 12 months of just putting all the extra money into savings. Because at the end of 12 months, the housing market could be right where it's at. Perhaps it's dropped, might be a little higher, but probably not much higher. But you'll have cash. And when you have cash in the bank, you actually get to have more options. You get kind of losing my words here. When there's cash in the bank and opportunities present themselves, you now have the ability to jump on some of them. Or to say, that's a great opportunity, but you know what? With this money in the bank and with the habits that we've built, we now realize that's actually not how we want to use that money. So sometimes that pause and just the goal of saving can help present some clarity in those uncertain areas. So my advice, if you are at a point where you don't have a large savings, you're feeling a lot of uncertainty about what to do next, pause, hit the brakes, and just start putting the money into savings. Cash is always king, and when there's a downturn, cash is definitely king. So yeah, I don't want you to not have a savings account and pay down your mortgage and then have something happen, because great, you have a paid down mortgage, but you have no liquid cash. So if something happens, you can't go to your house and say, give me some of that money back. Your house isn't an ATM. You may have a line of credit, but I would rather you just have the cash in the bank. So if you're feeling uncertainty about what to do next, pause and just let some of that money pile up. Just start building some of those habits of saying no to the things that you don't really want in your life, assessing what you really do. Pause. You don't need to be in a hurry. Nothing's happening that fast. Can you tell the sun's starting to move in? I feel like I'm glowing, like I have an ethereal, angelic glow, and anyone who knows me knows that's not true. So those are my 3 things today. What were they? Annualcreditreport.com. Know what's on your credit report. It's yours. You're responsible for what is on it, and you're responsible for fixing the things that shouldn't be there. The most important thing to do when you find yourself in any hole is to stop digging. Assess, pause. There's a lot of pausing in this week. So thank you, Warren Buffett. Thank you for wise words and for just being kind of a great guy. And the last thing is, if you're feeling a lot of uncertainty, maybe you just got out of debt, you're not really sure what to do next, never be afraid to hit pause and just start building up some cash reserves so that you can make decisions later from a more centered place. That's what I got for you. Thanks for hanging out with me. I know I've been really quiet lately. I'm working through some life stuff. We've got a new studio opening, a new /studio shop, so it'll have my artwork and my husband's antiques and collectibles. That's going to be in Zanesville, Ohio. We're going to open the first Friday in December. So I've been doing a lot of just getting this space ready. And I don't know about you, but sometimes when you've got like a few things that you're juggling, but they're like heavy, big priorities, it's hard to find the mental capacity for a lot of the other stuff. So that's kind of where I'm at. And if you've been there, I commiserate with you because it's not easy. It isn't easy. None of this is easy. But what are you going to do? The only way out is through. So there's your 4th thing. The only way out is through. I think that's a Navy SEALs mantra. The only way out is through. So just keep going. Just keep swimming. That's a Finding Nemo mantra. All right, I'm done. I'm going to stop rambling. Have a wonderful Thursday. I'm going to go find some things to do that have been waiting on me. And we'll chat again soon. Love you guys. Take care. Have a great weekend.